That's why
Now,
South Africans fashion themselves as like the white people of Africa,
Yeah.
which is horrible. And it also speaks back to some of the ways we look at African foreigners, guys.
they don't want to
You know-
build what's best for the Africans.
Africa has enough resources to shut off from the whole world.
Politically, do you agree with Malema? Because Malema, he's been pushing for that, bro, for a very long time.
Greetings to our progressive people. Compliments for the new year. This is your girl, Nelly Swa. You can call her Nelly Nels, Nelly Curls, kuningi njena. I have Oputi abahle kulo nyaka umchasana who are amazing, and let's go to them. Bazichaze ukuthi bangobani.
Hi, everyone. Njani Mofetu. Thank you so much for having me on the Progressive Podcast. I'm really excited to be here and joining you, Nels and Sibs. My name is Cody Ulu. I am a change maker and I am a published playwright, a director, and a performer. I'm really, really excited to be here and join you guys. So yeah, shout out.
What up, my good people? This is Sibs, your one and only boy. Welcome to Progressive Podcast. And without wasting any time, let's dive into it, guys. Kwenzakala?
Yeah.
Hi guys, ini sana 2025. Unjani for Nina? How do you feel it?
Oh, 25. I know the previous year was a bit hectic, but not so bad, eh?
Okay.
Yeah, 2025 is my year for success. It's
Na
my year
kanjani,
for
ziyakhala,
money.
siyabangena.
It's my year for money, guys.
Yeah.
2024 was so difficult. It was a really, really difficult
Yeah.
year to get by. Quite difficult financially,
Yeah.
in terms of relationships.
And also, as
Money.
the country has gone through a lot in
Yeah.
2024.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
we need to go and recap on 2024 in the best face and like, because I know all of you have stories. So do remember, it's now a comment area where you can put on your comments and share what you would like us to talk about as well. So guys, I will break unyaka 2025 or 2024 going on 2025. What's happening with the song of the year?
Which song of the year are you talking about?
Guys, Kizikapi.
What happened, bro? Because you guys have been talking about the song of the year.
Yeah.
It's like, because from my own understanding, I think the song of the year went to actually more than 3 people or 4, if I'm not
You
mistaken.
see, and I'm from KZN, guys, and we only have one song of the year, and it plays on Ukhozi FM. Anything out of that, we don't know anything about
Which
in
is
KZN.
Ukhozi?
Yes, anything that came out of Ukhozi FM, we will follow. All the other radio channels, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we're
You're
not.
tribalistic, bro.
Yeah, inkulu lento, it's bigger than
Yo,
KZN.
yes, it's much,
Okanye,
much
are you
bigger.
guys trying to say good KZN is a country on its own?
Well,
Guys.
those were my words, but if the shoe
Yeah,
fits.
because when you look at it, I think KZN has the vast population. You know, in
Very,
terms-
very
Yeah.
vast.
Yeah,
Very,
it's
very
very
vast.
vast. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
KZN is a very big
Yeah,
province.
and the majority of the people
Yeah.
in South Africa do come from that portion of the country, guys. The
Yeah.
majority of the people in South Africa are Zulu. So
Okay, I would
I'm
like
just
to
saying.
beg to differ, but yeah, it's a
Let's hear you,
it's
yeah,
for
let's hear
another
you.
day. And guys, Sayazi Guti, we had 4, but mna ndisaphuma nolanto zinocharisma. The
Oh,
Limpopo newcomer. Oh, that girl is so amazing. I don't even understand the song Bitini, but
Yep.
I'm feeling it.
Yep.
I'm vibing
Yep.
it
Yep.
like for forever.
I like how South Africans are opening themselves up to new sounds
Yeah,
and
yeah,
new
yeah,
artists. There's a big wave of a lot of new sounds that we haven't heard before that
Yeah.
are coming up. And it's great that we can give
Yeah.
artists that platform. I
Yeah.
think it's really, really cool.
Sikulile, we've come a long way, see country.
Yep,
We've
yep.
come a long way.
And when you do look at the type of music that she's actually singing, you know, it's a different genre altogether.
Yep.
And bro, she did, you know, a very amazing thing.
Yep.
Ugel, I think her song was the song of the year on Metro FM and some of the radio stations
Yep.
across the country. So yeah, I think I'm with you
She's a
on that
notable
one. When you
winner.
say that, yeah, it's good if South Africans are actually welcoming and new artists
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
actually acknowledging the new type of music.
Yeah, there's a
So
strong neo
it's a very
sound.
nice thing,
But
yeah.
now also what I'm saying, like times are really changing. Not even changing, they have changed. Because there's about 2 decades ago, like Song of the Year would be one.
Yep.
Ukuthi it breaks the whole country.
Yep.
But there's a lot of talent, and people are open whether you understand the language or not.
Mm.
But you are able to acknowledge ukuthi, oh, this is nice.
Yep.
So like guys, saying big ups to us. Let's continue to grow, guys.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
really,
strong, yeah?
it's really, really progressive.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is,
it's
yeah.
progressive.
It is progressive, you know.
Which also reminds me of the African Continental Free Trade
Yeah.
Area.
Yeah, yeah.
What's happening there?
Guys, those are such strong strides for the African
yo,
continent.
yo.
Those are such strong strides for the African continent. And it's one that hits close to home
Yeah.
because it allows for the free movement of people all over Africa. And if Africa comes together to create one country, do you guys understand how powerful the country will be? We'll be definitely sitting amongst the top. We'll have all of the resources. And there's free movement of people, being able to start businesses,
Yeah.
being able to purchase land, being able to move products without tax. The last time I traveled from South Africa to Cote d'Ivoire, you have to travel to France first. Get to Charles de Gaulle Airport in France, wait probably for 5 hours for a layover, and then go from Europe back into Africa. You know, we don't have free movements within our own continent. If you're going to Nigeria, you'll probably have to go to like Dubai first.
Qala.
You fly over Nigeria
Yeah.
because we haven't learned to kind of sort of
Yeah.
manage our own free movements of people.
Yeah.
So I think on my part, I think it's the best thing that could actually happen to Africa.
I also feel the same because, like, also in terms of Angiti government is spending money ngoku because foreign abantu bakhona they're not registered.
Yep.
So bayadiportwa. That's money
Yep.
that the government could
State
be doing
funds.
something else. Because if we break down the borders, that means by system yethu is by one. Xa ukhangela uthobekile banibani
Wemthol.
ezim.
Yep.
Uzamthola ngoke ngwase South Africa
Yep.
because is by one.
Yep.
But I also feel like let's struggle. It says for a very long time because now you need to check that countries are basically benefit because of the division
you're right,
between
yeah.
us. Like they're
They're
gonna
not gonna.
fight.
They're not gonna go easily.
Because now there'll be no more wars.
Yep.
Like like people right now we are. But I know one thing about Tabantu, we like the different levels. Ukuthi mnandi phaya.
Yeah, of course.
So
That's why
now,
South
yeah.
Africans fashion themselves as like the white people of Africa, you
Yeah.
know, which is horrible. And it also speaks back to some of the ways we look at African foreigners, guys, you know, and we need to acknowledge where that comes from. Did in the past, you know, before the arrival of Europeans, did we look at each other like that? Or were we trading with each other as different kingdoms?
When you look at this whole thing, I think it was actually designed.
Yeah,
It
of
was,
course.
Yes.
so it's a system that was actually created by the, by the oppressor.
Yeah.
You know, because even if you look at this, what you just mentioned now, us coming together as Africans.
Yeah.
There's a special name for it. You mentioned it. What's the name?
Pan-Africanism.
Pan-Africanism, right? Yeah. So imagine if Africa were to be one, bro. Like,
The power
if I
there.
wanna, if I feel like going to Nigeria right now to establish my own entity,
Yeah.
I don't have to, go through the process of
Paperwork and
Yep.
whatever.
Visa.
applying for a visa,
Visa.
and all that stuff, because
Yeah.
it's so complicated,
Yeah.
bro,
And guys in Europe, Europeans don't do this. If
They
I'm
don't
in,
do
if
that.
I'm in Paris and I
Yeah.
want to take the subway to Zurich,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you go
Yeah.
straight there, I just show them, hey, I'm a European. So they understand that those structures work to be
Yeah.
strong. So why do they place them so hard in Africa?
Kalok Tina, they've
know.
already kept at prison, like
Yep.
kept us prison
Yep.
for a very long time because generation by generation we're still discriminating each other.
Yes, of course.
Because Ngogu, you have a neighbor is not from South Africa. You're already looking at that person as if like fuzzy alien or they're so
Yep,
different
yep,
from you,
yep.
which doesn't make sense. And then to the other ones, ababamhlophe, when they look at us, we are all black.
They laugh
But
at
then
us.
it division elapha.
Yeah.
So do you think ukuthi, let's say this law if the borders are broken down, the mentalities of Tina, like back home, ke ngoku, in your townships, in your suburbs, like in your neighbors, how do we work to actually support to say ukuthi we need to come together and be united?
I think it will take a while. I don't know, Sibs.
I think what we should be doing actually as black people. I think we also need to, to learn, bro. We need to actually start embracing each other.
Yep.
Because as long as we are still faced with a certain type of black people fighting another certain type of black people because of the nationality or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
this shows a level, or rather a lack of knowledge that we actually have or we're still possessing,
Yeah.
because imagine if we are speaking about xenophobia, or rather having this type of topic by this time, bruh, that shows that we're way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like move.
But I'm glad we're
you know.
opening ourselves up for the conversation to happen.
But now the question is, how many people actually want to be participating? How many people?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because right now, if you can go to somewhere, you'll find somebody saying, this Nigerian guy should go, or South Africa is like this because of a certain foreign guy. So there's still that, instability
Yeah.
or that form of hatred amongst
Yeah.
us. So,
But that's
I don't
learned
know,
behavior, guys.
Yeah,
You know
it
we
was
did it. We were
rooted
never
for-
like
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
learned
yeah.
behavior, and anything that is learned can be
Can be
unlearned.
unlearned.
So what I was
Yeah.
saying, it will obviously not take one generation,
Yeah.
but look at our age gap and look at our parents and look at their parents.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's been a level of growth.
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
us have become more global citizens.
yeah.
Like my ideas have really changed, and I think the more we spend time with these guys and we learn about who they are without being told who they are from
Yeah.
specific people,
Yeah.
it's such a humanizing experience. In fact, for those of us who stay in Johannesburg CBD, you get to interact a lot with foreigners
Yeah.
from Malawi, from Nigeria, from all parts of the world, and one thing that does ring true is that there is a strong sense of brotherhood.
Yeah.
These
Kakhulu,
are our brothers,
kakhulu.
these are our sisters,
Yeah.
this is someone's family, this is someone's, so for me that's really
And I
important.
also feel like about in Joburg. Like for me, I'm from Cape Town.
Yeah.
So from Cape Town, it's more Xhosa, colored and whites.
And multinationals, yeah.
So like to have foreigners, it's there. And like the majority is not as much as Upper Joburg.
Yeah.
So I think like Joburg here now will be the drive to influence Ezinye.
Thank you to change, yeah.
Yeah.
Joburg,
that change.
however, does have a foreigner problem. When I say foreigner problem, I'm talking about the amount of unlicensed brothers
Undocumented.
and sisters
It's a
we
big
have.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that we
yeah.
definitely have to acknowledge.
So you
know.
see your point now takes us back to that thing that you just said about Africa coming together as one.
Yep.
So if we had that type of system, it was gonna be easier.
Yep. Free movements of people. We
Yeah.
know exactly who they
Yeah,
are. If they
because-
steal, we can track
Yeah.
them in
I
think
Malawi.
all
We can track
these
them
nations
wherever.
are gonna be linked into one
Yeah.
platform.
You don't have to take Africa South Africa. You make documents.
Exactly.
zaphayana,
Yeah.
you change
Uhamba
letters
nezakho.
up,
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
acknowledge them in our countries. We need to change the systems.
Because even if you look at the government, bro, the government is actually losing a lot of cash, man.
Too much.
Just imagine, let's say, for example, somebody's coming from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that nigga has to be deported back to your Pakistan.
Malin Lea.
How much is that?
And you can only fly to
man.
Pakistan,
Yeah.
right?
So
So,
those people, that person
many
obviously,
flights?
first that person is gonna be arrested and detained.
Yeah.
They're eating.
Yep.
They have to be well taken care of in terms of medication,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
You get me? So
Yep.
imagine
Flights, flight travels.
flights going back to Pakistan.
Yep.
Yet that money is supposed to be, creating employment for the South African youth, eradicating poverty, fighting crime,
Yep.
doing this and that.
Definitely.
So are we
So-
all agreeing, Guti, if the borders would come down, there's so much that we can work as
I
a country.
agree with
Definitely.
But
Malema,
I
bruh.
also think by Ingagi E1, I think that's why they are still taking forever to come into decisions. Who's gonna be? I think indaba ye president, because power
Yeah.
in charge.
Yeah.
Like
We have an
how is
African
that
Union.
gonna work,
We have
though?
an African Union that has been led by Nkosazana Zuma for a very long time. We tend to forget, we isolate ourselves as South Africa. But there is a mandate that all African countries have signed. One of them is the African Free Trade Area, and all African countries agree on this thing. And once we stop looking at ourselves as South Africa and start looking at what's
As
happening at
African,
African
yeah,
Union
yeah,
level,
yeah.
then we'll start to understand, oh, shucks, the African Union says by 2050, they mandate for 2050 is to have all African borders dismantled.
Yeah.
So the EFF are not lying when they say we need to bring down the borders. Thina ngesilokhu silandela ama-parties that
Yeah.
are not aligning with other Africans and what other Africans are saying on the continent. Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because
We want to progress as Africa.
Yeah.
I think, guys, we need to wait for Jesus to come back.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, you see this topic that you're actually debating right now, it's going to take, a whole lot of years, bro.
Yeah, it started years ago.
Some countries, they're not going to agree to that.
in they don't want to
You know-
build what's best for the Africans.
Those
Yeah,
countries are
you
not
know,
African,
by a
though.
divide,
Yeah, those
that's
are not
the
African
thing.
countries.
That's the thing, because,
Because if sorry to disturb you, because if the borders come down, abantu base-Europe bafike apha bazokwenzekela hlobo
Bazotshontsha
bekwenza ngalo,
kanjani?
they
So
can't.
qhamuka i-army yase-South Africa, qhamuka i-army
Because-
yase-Egypt, qhamuka i-army,
Because
it's difficult for them.
if you want to attack Nigeria,
Yeah,
Nigeria
sikhona.
comes sisonke.
Yeah.
Like you
Sikhona,
can't.
you
The
know.
numbers
It's what's
are a
happening
lot.
with
And the
NATO.
resources in Congo become ours as well. So then we have our soldiers there as well.
Yeah.
Nigeria has their
Yeah.
soldiers there as well. Then it becomes so much more difficult for other people who are not Africans to keep liquidating the country.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we have enough resources. Africa has enough resources to shut off from the whole world and be able to run herself
So can
and
I
be
ask you a
self-sufficient.
question?
Yeah.
Do politically, do you agree with Malema? Because Malema, he's been pushing for that, bro, for a very long time.
I don't speak politics.
No,
Joking.
yeah, you don't speak.
I don't align myself to any political.
Okay,
I
but,
don't think.
With
But if I
Julius
had to choose,
individual, yeah.
I love Julius Malema.
Yeah.
I think he's such a resilient man. I think he's such a learned man. I absolutely love that man.
Yo,
I'm in awe. I
Choo-choo.
followed his career. Yeah, I
This
followed.
guy is in love with you.
Definitely. I fashioned myself definitely. I come from a political family. My
Yeah.
father was a commissioner in the South African police
Yeah.
force for Durban for a very long time. So I do have an idea of how politics work, although I don't align myself
Yeah.
to any parties. I feel like no party can be perfect. Every party has its own mishaps. But if I had to, if I was
Choose,
dying
yeah.
and I had to choose a political party,
Be Malem.
Juju, call me up, bro. I could lead the party, bro. I'm like, give me a job. I'm telling you.
And guys, like in all of this, like, cause okay, we are fighting Africans. Somalia, Pakistan's, where Bandaoni, they're not part of Africa, right?
They are, guys. We love
That's why I'm
them.
asking, because guys, nigga, shake my
love
geography
them.
is so bad. Are they part of Africa?
One of the youngest countries we've just gotten in Africa is South Sudan, which is another topic that we should probably speak about on another day. It's awful what's going on there. A lot of the Arabs are coming in and making up their own countries, and we have to acknowledge them in terms of the constitutional kind of laws
Yeah.
and humanitarian laws. But there's a lot of tensions happening that side. But the African Union does acknowledge, definitely acknowledge that side. Morocco as well. They've signed to become part of the African Union.
Okay.
For a very long time, they didn't consider themselves Africans, but they've
So,
signed.
reason
Gogo
being-
Sisonke.
They're Arab, so they had that,
yeah.
the old oppressors of the West. A lot Arabs is another Londujana that we don't speak about.
Yeah, we don't, because I
know.
won't lie, I don't know much about them. Yabo.
Brutal.
Yeah.
But perhaps another conversation
Yeah.
we shall have. Yeah, but there's a lot of developments in the Arab world as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can
But
acknowledge
guys,
that.
in South Africa, there's a lot going on. I don't want to lie, and because Ngoku, we have this food poisoning thing that has been an issue
shit,
for
bro.
2024,
Mm.
and a lot of kids died. Because the stats say to like 190 cases from September nje. And abantwana abancinci, and all of this is coming from ispaza shops which
I was
are
about to
ran
say,
by Somali.
speaks back to the foreigner problem.
But I also think this thing of them not having like the right papers being registered and all of that, ne government they took alawa njani uvule ishop uyirane akho inspections of
I was
health.
about
It
to say,
didn't
yeah.
undergo anything because
Yeah.
now president yethu Ramaphosa is only forcing people to go and register ngoku after, so we're only reacting to something that has already happened.
We don't
I think
safeguard.
the decision by the president is somewhat, there is a bit of unfairness. Because when you look at this carefully, these Pakistan guys and Somalis guys have been operating these pizza shops for a very long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So now, because of this food poisoning thing, school kids, dying day in and day out, then the government steps in, in order for them to actually say, no, guys, this is very wrong. You know, they say we are giving those spaza shops to locals. You know, how does that actually end the whole
The
food
problem we're
poisoning
at
thing?
hand, yeah.
Because the problem at hand is actually not being addressed.
Yep.
You know, what's being addressed here is actually
Sayixutha, we're taking
it's
it
a
away.
Yeah.
switch whereby
Yeah.
those spaza shops are being taken from those trainer guys and being given to locals. So,
Zimbabwe did that, and look at Zimbabwe today.
to get me.
Zimbabwe
So
did exactly the same thing with the farms
the
and the
problem
white people.
wasn't being actually addressed.
Yep.
So
So did that really happen? Were there spazas that were taken away and given to
they
locals?
are because people are busy.
lot of
I don't know where it is. Somewhere around here in town. Oh, I think it's Carlton Center. If I'm not
People were
mistaken.
chucked out as well. There's a coach plant.
Yeah, bruh, you
there's
can-
kidnapping. They kidnap Somalians now for money.
money.
I recently watched on Cot Blanche. Yeah, they're doing they make it difficult for them to be in South Africa. What I think is that like we don't have the means to safeguard. We want foreign business. If we're going to be a
Yeah.
global country, we
Yeah.
need foreign business.
Yeah,
There's
we do.
no way around it. We're trying to say, let's look at the foreigners that are coming in and how can we make sure that we're getting authentic business
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
not people coming out to
Bus
chance
services
and sell us
rights. Yeah,
expired
yeah,
food
yeah,
or food that they cook in their toilets, you know.
Mm.
We need a system that can evaluate and critically look at who's coming in. South Africa is not doing anything to look at that problem.
They
What South
not,
Africa
and
is
for years.
yeah, and what they're doing is trying to take the shops away and give them to people who never really worked for the shop or know how to run a shop.
How is that going to help?
I don't think that helps the problem. That happened in Zimbabwe. They sent all the
Yeah,
foreigners out. They gave all the farms to the locals. The
maintain
Zimbabwean,
the
the
farms.
currency
Yeah.
dropped so low.
So
Yeah.
They were
low.
buying bread for like 3 million,
Look
like
at
notes
that.
of 3 million.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you chase out foreign business and
Yeah.
multinationals. You know.
But
Yeah, you can speak.
okay, because what I was actually thinking, you know, I think if the government, at least if it actually introduced a certain structure, okay, guys, let's say for example somebody from Somali, Pakistan, whatever the cases could be, you want to operate a business in South Africa, there has to be a certain structure in place.
Yep.
You can't just open a shop and sell food without a license.
Yep.
You're not paying tax.
Yep.
Your business is not even registered.
Yeah.
Bro. You're not even
You don't have a
known.
visa to be in the country.
Get
And also,
that.
guys, you can't just open a
shit,
business
man.
on a travel visa. A
No,
lot of
you
these
can't.
people come in on a
Can't,
travel
travel, yeah,
visa.
yeah.
Yeah,
Get a business visa, pay the fare for
But
a business
guys,
visa,
it shows
and open
straight
your
the
business.
system here to work.
It's rubbish. But also, we inherited our system from an apartheid government. It's never been refined. I wrote a show about this. Even our justice system, like the prison system, there's people in prison who were imprisoned by the apartheid government
Yeah,
who-
basephaya.
for just throwing a
Yeah.
rock at a police van,
Yeah.
who are still there today. And
Yeah.
we've never, we don't go back to look at any system. We just inherit it from the white man. We take it as it is. And you must understand when these systems were written, they're written to oppress Africans.
Yeah.
So how can we
Continue
inherit
that.
something and then not change it to support us?
Now I've always had this thing, guys. It's my own opinion, I would say. Ogoti, the black person is put like when you face, you just the face. I feel like there's a whole lot that goes on behind about this ngabazi,
Yep.
but when you just come and present angithi bafika most yabo nephepha lengaka umbone ba omnye, this is the first time I'm reading this.
Oh my
but okay,
gosh.
I'm gonna say it anyways.
You took that out of my mouth. Sorry to interject. Do you remember when our president did not find his iPad and he couldn't make a speech and he was looking for his iPad? I'm like, bro, if you wrote a speech, whether you wrote it
know.
last week,
Yeah, you
I
would
know I'm going to
know.
speak about gender-based
Yeah,
violence. I know
yeah.
I'm going to speak about the
Yeah.
African free trade
Yeah.
area. He spent like a good 20 minutes looking for his
Because he
iPad.
had no clue.
I'm like, this president doesn't write his own speeches. He's definitely
Now
just...
that's how I feel.
And of course, I feel like that's how
Because
the
there's
whole
no
country
way
feels.
ukuthi leli thetha about these laws were written ngexesha le-apartheid. So nyani ngehlobo yenzeka ngalo ngakho, it's just like we just came and then we're carrying, but
Yeah.
with the face of
Yeah,
a black
blackness,
man.
yeah. And if you look at the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers and the people who really, really like run South Africa, you start to understand oh shucks, the ANC got EFF kanti ifandwe labantu, the ANC ifandwe laba. It's
Yeah.
like it's the rabbit hole you don't want to go down because
Sure.
it's a whole show, bro. It's a whole
Yeah.
performance. Everyone is performing, and then you
Yeah.
see these guys, the opposition party, and you see them babangani outside of the courts. They're really personal. They're really close. They know what it's just. Politics is just an act.
This whole thing is
And
just
they're
a
playing
scheme.
with us like Tina Spaku Chelsea.
Yes,
We
that's
are
why
just,
I don't engage politics because
it's
we take it
just
so
a
seriously.
scam.
We're
I
like,
feel the same.
we take it so seriously.
as,
Kanti bona babangani.
as if Tina we have because now okay guys, I'm still gonna say it's my opinion. Now I feel like we are made to feel good we have a word. Like you
vote,
speak your
they will
mind, you have
say.
a voice. But if voice yako, they'll tell you okay, it's numbers. But then okay, like EFF again, I'm not saying I'm EFF. EFF been in numbers, everything was happening, like we could see. And then out of the sudden,
Yep.
it's falling apart.
Yep. And you know the CIA was at our. That's why they wanted a recount. The CIA was at our national voting elections last year.
Yeah.
What reason do we need an agency, an American
To
Agency.
come and-
agency
to
that
come
is
and,
known
yeah.
for dismantling, like known for taking down presidents, Patrice Lumumba presidents all over Africa? Why do we need them present?
But it's clear, guys, nothing has been
know.
hidden in front of you. It's
Yeah.
happening in front of us, but
Yeah.
it's up to you. But when
Sometimes when you look at it carefully, you'll find out that even the CIA is actually funding those political
Yes.
parties. Or
Yeah, definitely.
it's funding the government.
Definitely,
But there's
definitely.
always a
Obvious.
story behind this whole thing, you know. There is always a story.
You know what they're trying to do in Cape Town is completely crazy. They're trying to make Cape Town its own
country,
country.
yeah.
Yeah. And the white multinationals, people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
don't even have,
Yeah.
in my opinion, don't really have an African say.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to build their own country. I mean, they're already doing it in Cape Town, literally. Now they want to fence it off. I've got a friend who works in Johannesburg. If she's going to see her family, she's going to need a visa to go back home to her family in Cape Town.
in Cape Town, from
she
where?
lives,
From
she lives in Johannesburg with her husband.
why
Is-
does
is-
she need a visa?
Cape independence, because Cape Town is going to become a country on its own.
So this thing is really happening.
They're pushing for it. You know, they're really, really pushing for it. And a lot of the people, AfriForum people, a lot of, I mean, we've got, what's that, Orania? What's that country that black people are not allowed to go into in South
I think
Africa?
it's a
Orania.
community.
Yeah.
It's a white dominated
No,
community.
it's a country because they use their own money. They use, it's completely
So black people are not
how
allowed
did
to.
that
They're only
come
allowed to go
about,
in there
man?
if you work, if you're a domestic worker, if you're one of the garden
No
boys.
vacation, no
In
kanye.
2025, in democratic South Africa, after we've had so
This
many
is
deaths.
happening.
Yeah.
So that takes us back to where you could actually see that a lot still needs to be done.
Too much, man.
You know, because a lot is still happening.
Too
Hi,
much.
guys.
No other country in the
So
world
much
could you
is
do
still
something
gonna
like
happen.
that.
Okay,
'Cause
guys, like, does it mean now we just talk about this
Yep.
in places like this or amongst us, but
No
that's where
action.
it ends.
Yeah. We're docile.
Yeah,
And
that-
we've learned.
You know, I think the power of us having to address these topics, it might touch other people out there. It might help open eyes. It might help change.
Yeah.
You know, or rather bring forth change. Because if we have to sit back and relax and
Yeah,
not say
nothing,
things,
yeah.
you know, about what's actually happening, I don't think anything might
I'm
change.
going to disagree with you.
Eish,
I'm going to
Maratina.
disagree
Bring
with
it
you,
on.
Sibs. Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Radical, you don't ask someone nicely for your freedom. You know,
That's true.
radical situations need radical behavior. That's the only sometimes.
Itoyi, ezanise hlobo senza
Even
ngalo.
into doing money.
Marikana.
South Africa maksiwa ben.
Nangoku kuyenzeka.
Maksiwa ben.
Eh.
And that's
Marikana
those
type of
kids
thing.
were able to destroy an apartheid
And
system.
make change.
That's what we need. Tina siyaxoxa in our offices, we're so sophisticated.
Now
We
we
speak with
podcast
polished
zethu
English
kamandi,
in our
yeah.
podcasts. We need people on the street saying no. You know, we're saying taxing the multinational Londujana countries, companies. We're only looking at the African foreigners. What about the white Otipiers who's been liquidating African diamonds since the conception
my,
of time?
my.
You know, a foreigner selling African diamonds. On what premise? How did you own a mine in South Africa? We
Ungekho
only
walapha.
look when you're not from here. We only look at the African foreigners and say, yeah, of course they're killing the kids. Something we need to look at as well. But if we're looking at multinationals, we should look at all of the multinationals, the ones that run Cape Town. You know, the ones that we're looking at this thing from still very white
So cold,
oriented.
how do you feel about?
Mina ngi radical, baby.
Are we ever gonna get
Mina
Anyway.
radical, baby. I want you to chuchu call me. Mina ngu Ben. I'm
Yeah.
Sarafina
So,
esque.
so guys, okay, can I also respond to what you've just said, bro?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
You say that bang, bang, bang is the
Yeah.
only way out. So, what's the purpose of having a parliament? What's the purpose of having codes, the justice system, all those structures? What are they actually meant
Parliament
to
is
say?
performance in South Africa.
'Cause
Parliament
Yeah.
is
I
performance.
was about to say, but this structure eziyana ezine rules zayo
Yep.
about this. Jonga in Westbury, and close to where I'm staying, there was this water thing. Like there was no water for almost a week.
Yep.
At Westbury, you
Not
should
in
have
Johannesburg.
seen the colors. Abuya man's the same day.
Good.
They closed everywhere. They burnt like the
Good.
tires. And at first I was like, is this still like is it helpful?
Yep.
Same day amanzi abuya.
yep.
So I'm also with you on
Abelungu,
that.
they
We
call
need to
same
really
time.
get to that thing ukuthi we are really like yonke le nonsense ibona yenzekayo. We need to go and
White
bang,
communities,
bang, bang,
go
bang.
to Santon, go to all the white communities. The lights go off for 2 minutes. Every white lady from the Homeowners Association has called to shit on them and told them that she'll be there to scream. Black people, we don't have that. We don't look at ourselves in that regard. You know,
it
Abelung, they
confidence?
know who
Is
they
it
are.
confidence?
Yes, we don't have that.
We don't.
We've been whipped. They whipped the confidence out of us.
But
You
ke
know?
ngoku generation, because I've never experienced apartheid ngela hlobo labo, like personally. So is that thing DNA or what? Okanye it's how we are brought, or like how are we all sharing the same thing of us lacking in confidence, like to really stand for your.
That's a
your
great
No,
question. That's a psychological question.
yeah.
There's trauma, collective trauma does exist, obviously. You know, you can inherit trauma, but you can also break trauma.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you can break generational curses. It's things that have been done by so many people. Shadow work, we've seen it happen. People coming from
Yeah.
shitholes.
Yeah,
Sorry to use that
yeah,
word,
yeah.
but like people coming from the most worst place that a
Yeah.
human can kind of like grow up and becoming one of the most successful people we know. You know, we've seen that so many times.
But I think also poverty does play a certain role, bro,
Yep.
Yeah.
in maintaining this type of behavior.
Yep.
Because people do want to change.
Yep.
You know, people do want to embrace change and actually see good things happening.
Yeah.
But now the thing of poverty, you know, inequality, you know, having people staying in those, you know, upmarket suburbs and still having people staying in those shacks in Alexandra or Tembisa.
Yeah.
I
10
think
minutes across the street.
10 minutes or across the street, there's this upmarket suburb.
Yeah.
I think that creates a sense of hate.
Yep.
You know, and once that sense has been created, one already has that mentality of, you know what, it's in your panda lapaya.
Yeah.
Can I say this?
Do you get me?
Land expropriation without compensation. I'm so sorry I
Is
said
is
it.
that gonna work?
I'm so
though?
sorry I said
'Cause
it out
we've,
loud.
We've seen that happening with countries like Zim, whereby Mugabe had to chase all those
Yep.
white farmers
Yep.
and gave the majority Zimbabweans the land. He gave the land to people who are not even experienced.
But
to
we're not
people
going to do
who
that.
can't
Yeah,
even
see, yeah.
till.
We're not going to do that.
You know, it's just like I think the issue of land has to be addressed in a very, you know, in a very smart way.
It does, yeah. But it
Yeah.
needs to be addressed, brother. That's what I'm trying to
I
say.
think it's still there even in Parliament. They're busy debating on that, but now
Are they
it's gonna take, you know, quite some time, because now, you know, the ruling party cannot just give land or rather take the land without any form of compensation.
No,
know,
who
'cause-
says that, bro? Where did you get that from?
Wait, guys, where are we now?
Sorry, I
talking
think
about
this is a
land.
forced word.
No, we are talking about we as blacks, we've lost Landuza
We are moving. She wants to bring it back. She wants to bring it back. Let-
bro. We are
But the
moving.
land one, I think the land one is really, you know why?
he
None
came
of
up
it, I'm
with the
abused.
land,
None of
yeah.
it,
Because we're on that
it's
issue of, you know, of this societal imbalance, you know, whereby
So Bastute Yongindo, that's
Yes.
why we feel
yeah,
Yes.
so
this way.
that's the reason why you will find the majority of South Africans, especially those coming from poor communities, it's going to be very hard for them to actually adapt or rather to want to dismantle that type of behavior
Yeah.
of them having a hate or of them, you know, like what you've just mentioned, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
You see that type of behavior, because that type of behavior can be addressed. There is a certain way of actually, you know, addressing a certain issue or whatever the case may be, instead of fighting. Because when you look at fighting, in most cases, most things don't actually end well. I can take you back to Marikana. You remember intense in Marikana, bro?
Yeah.
people were doing and doing those bang bangs and all that.
Yeah.
What happened?
Can I respond to you? Yeah. I'm going to completely disagree with you again, Sims. Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
All of the most, when the government thinks that they are above the people have overthrown that government each time. We've seen it happen in Rome. We've seen it happen in France. We see it happening almost everywhere. People have been able to overthrow systems that don't work for them.
Yeah.
I don't think people in South Africa are living. 70% of us are living below the poverty line. If I've got enough land, you can't grow food, you can't grow carrots, elokishini. If I've got enough land, I can at least eradicate. We all just need like 2-3 meters each. Do you not think that will make a difference in terms of the poverty
Yeah.
that you're speaking about? If I had 2-3 meters just to grow my basic staples, do you not think it
you
could
know,
address the crime?
you know, guys,
I think land is at the center of the conversation we are having
Why
in
are
South
we like
Africa.
this?
Yeah.
Because now, guys, like this topic, it will
Yeah.
go on like
Yeah.
because nyani, like it all goes back to yonke into a bad and terrible that's happening. Like the GBV people, like people are so angry. Benza izinto is scary.
Yep.
So when you look psychologically, that thing is deep.
Yep.
So ziyahlangana zonke.
Yep. I
But-
think we got really, sorry to interject.
Yeah.
I think we got really messed up. Especially I'll speak about people from KZN
Yeah.
and black people at large, African people, sorry for using the term black African people, we don't acknowledge trauma.
Yeah.
We don't acknowledge trauma. We've almost lived in a world where we glorify trauma. Like
Yeah.
there's some greatness in
Yeah.
struggling. There's no greatness in
Yeah.
struggling,
Yeah.
guys. There should be. We shouldn't be looking at
Embracing
great.
that
If
or-
a
yeah.
woman wants anything better if she wants, for a young girl, she just wants a man with a car because she doesn't
Yeah.
come. She's a gold digger. Because blackness, we think black people don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Why should you want a man with a car? Why don't you just take everything that is good for black people we hate, and because we were taught we don't deserve that, so we still look at even women, we look at them like that. We gold digger
Yeah.
That's true, bro. That's how we get to gender based.
Like Cody, okay? Yeah, one of this gender based. I want us to talk about it on our next episode. So for now, we need to papaisa our audience and tell them like to be on the comment sections. But
Okay.
we are coming back with that GBV because I know this one is gonna take its own hour,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely need to address that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, progressive people. Thank you for having us. For being here with us.
Yeah.
And all the love that we're getting on the comment section. Keep it up. And Africa, we see you. We love you. And until next time.
Shining.
mwah.
Bye guys. Bye
Danko.
guys.